Are you confused about seamless patterns in Procreate? Maybe you've tried to create patterns and no matter what you do, your pattern doesn't line up correctly. I've got a foolproof way to set up your pattern so it lines up perfectly each time. This is a half drop seamless repeat. Let me show you how to make it.
Hey there, I'm Kelly, a lettering artist and digital designer. I'm the founder of the blog Kelly Lee Creates, and I teach people how to create beautiful art and digital design even if they don't have any experience. Today I want to talk to you all about patterns in Procreate, specifically the half drop repeat pattern. I'm going to show you an example of a half drop repeat. We're going to go over the difference between a half drop and a full drop repeat. And I'm also going to show you how to set up your half drop repeat so your design comes out perfectly each time.
So here we are on Procreate, and this is an example of a recent half drop pattern that I created. So with a half drop pattern, this is the half drop repeat for this pattern. And you can see that some of the elements are cut off on the edges, and that is where they repeat. So in a half drop repeat, you have your two elements, your two squares or boxes that repeat vertically, one on top of the other. But with your horizontal repeat, it's shifted down halfway. So if you compare that to, I'm going to show you a full drop repeat that I recently did. So this is a full drop repeat. This is the pattern block, and you can see that, there are things that are cut off or extend outside of the page, and that's where they repeat. So with this pattern, like this side right here repeats over here on this side, and then the bottom repeats up here on the top. So you can see that here's our first repeat that was the same as the half drop, but in the half drop, the next repeat would have been here right in the center. But with a full drop repeat, it's not dropped down, it's just horizontal. So this is what your full drop repeat is. So that is the difference between a half drop and a full drop. So we're going to be working with this design, and I'm going to show you how to set up the half drop repeat using these cute little cherry hearts. So I've created a new canvas, and the canvas size is 2048 pixels by 2048 pixels. So the first thing that we're going to do is set up the selection for the repeat. Add a new layer and fill that layer with whatever color you want. Select that layer using the arrow transform tool right here, and then you're going to tap on the dot right there, and it's going to pop up with the dimensions. And so to get the dimensions perfect, instead of sliding, I'm going to enter the dimensions exactly. So it's 2048 by 2048. And we want to make it 1024 by 1024, so half of this. So I'm gonna keep this little link blue there, so when I change one, it'll change the other as well. So I'm just gonna change it to 1024. And you can see that the box is now 1024 by 1024 in this corner, and that's exactly what we want. So tap the selection tool, make sure automatic is on, tap it, save and load, and tap this plus right here, and selection 1. So that is our first selection for our pattern. So now we're going to move this box over to this side right here, and make sure that, I forgot to say this before, but make sure that snapping and magnetics is turned on. So we're going to select it and we're just going to slide it over to this side until it snaps in place. And you'll know when it snaps in place because there'll be an orange line going down the middle and an orange line going horizontally. Then you're going to select it, tap it, save and load. And this is going to be selection 2. Now for selection 3, we're going to move it down and then across. And again, select, tap, save and load, selection 3. And then if we move it this way, this is going to be selection 4. So once you're done with those 4 selections, you can delete that box. And now we're going to do it again. Create a new layer, drag the color in. And this time we are going, instead of creating square selections, we're going to create rectangular selections. So select the entire box. You're going to slide it to the left until it lines up. And then same thing, select. And this is selection 5. And then we're going to drag it over to the side, this side, the right hand side, and selection, oops, I actually did that twice. We don't need 7. Selection 6. So now we have all our selections ready for our pattern. So to start creating our pattern, the first thing I did was choose a background color. So I chose this light pink and I just placed it on a separate layer. And I have already drawn the basic design that I want for this pattern. So feel free to draw whatever design you want. I'm just going to use these cherry hearts, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate these and resize them and move them around the canvas to get a nice design. Okay, now that I have all my cherries duplicated and moved around, I'm just going to add some hearts to this. So to do that, I am just going to add a new layer, and I'm using a heart stamp brush that I created, and I'm just tapping to add some hearts, changing the size of the hearts, and maybe I'll add some that are white as well. Next, I think I want to add a few dots. So for that, I'm going to use the monoline brush in the calligraphy set. And again, add a new layer and just tap for some dots. And I want to also put some dark red dots in here. Just like so. Okay, so there's our basic design, and the next step is to start to turn this into a repeat pattern. So to start to build the pattern, first I need to group the layers together. So I have the dots on one layer, the hearts on another layer, and I put all the cherries on a separate layer as well. So we need to group them together. Swipe right and hit group. But you want to leave the background layer separate for this. So you have your cherries, your hearts, and your dots all in one group. Your background layer is separate. Now we need to add one layer to the top of this group. And on that layer, we're going to make some little marks like this on the corners. And we're going to do that because when we select the layer, we want to select the entire box. If we didn't have those marks, it would only select like right here where, here, I'll show you. If we don't have that layer and we go to select, see, it's not selecting the entire box right here because there's nothing in the corners. So that's why we need this layer and a few marks in the corners right here. Don't worry, we're going to delete this later. But that's just so our pattern lines up perfectly. Okay, so to make the pattern, you're going to make sure your group is selected. Come down here to Save and Load. Choose Selection 1. And you can see that it's this top left corner. And then you're going to hit Flip Horizontal, Flip Vertical. You're going to repeat that with Selection 3. So select your canvas, Save and Load, hit Selection 3, and you can see it's the bottom left corner. Flip horizontal, flip vertical. And then the last one we're going to do is this side right here, which is Selection 5. So again, select your canvas, Save and Load, Selection 5. Actually, I'm sorry, it's Selection 6. It's this side right here. And flip horizontal and flip vertical. Now you can see that all those marks that we made in the corners, they're all right here in the center. So we want to get rid of that layer. And now what we need to do is we need to fill in the gaps here. So I am just going to flip this again so it's vertical, and now we can fill in the gaps here. We can move some of the hearts or dots or whatever we need to do to fill this in. Okay, so once you have filled in everything that you want to fill in the middle, now we're going to do that transition again. But first we need to add our marks in the corners. So add a new layer on top of everything and add the marks in the corner. Okay, so make sure your group is selected. Come down here to Save and Load, and this time we're going to go with Selection 2. So it's this corner right here. Tap on the Transform tool, flip horizontal, flip vertical. Again, Save and Load. Now we're going to go Selection 4, which is this one down here. Transform tool, flip horizontal, flip vertical. Save and Load, and 5, which is this one right here. Transform tool, flip horizontal, flip vertical. And we are going to delete the layer that we made with the marks. And again, I'm going to flip everything, the whole thing vertical so we can see. And now this is the last time that you can add anything or move anything around. You can see that there's still a little bit of empty space here. So I think I'm just going to duplicate some of these hearts and move them in there. I have finished filling in all the gaps on the pattern, and I think that I have it the way I want it. And the final step now is to test our pattern to make sure that the repeat works. So to do that, duplicate this group right here with all the pattern elements. I'm going to duplicate it, and I am going to duplicate that 4 times, 5 times actually. And I'm going to turn off the bottom one just in case we have to come back and fix things. You always want to keep an original. So I have 4, 5. Okay. So I'm going to start with this top group, and I'm going to select it, and we're going to move it up into this top left corner. So again, tap on the dot right there. We're going to enter 1024 for the dimensions, and then open up this next group right here. You can tap on this dot right down here, and 1024 for the dimensions, and it should snap right into place. And you can see if you zoom in, everything looks good. There are no errors. There are no white lines going through our pattern, and that is exactly what we want to see. So the next one that we want to do is come down to this group right here, and tap it, select it again, 1024. Okay, so with this one, we're going to select it, and we're going to bring this one, remember we're going to bring it down till it snap. Oops, got to turn on snapping and magnetics. Okay, so with this one, we're going to bring it down till it snaps halfway, and you can see that, the orange line right there. And then going to bring it over so it snaps in place, and you'll know again because there'll be orange line down vertically and across. So our next group right here, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to delete these two, sorry. So for our next move, we're going to take this block right here, and we're going to duplicate this block and move it up and down. So make sure that block is selected, duplicate it, and then just slide it up so it snaps into place. Again, you'll know with the orange lines. And then duplicate that one again. Make sure you're duplicating this one right here and not this one that's been cut off. So duplicate again, swipe left, duplicate, and then move this one down into place. So to check this, zoom in and make sure there are no areas of your design where things don't line up. But this looks good. I don't see any errors here. So that is how you make a half drop seamless repeat. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any more tutorials. If you want more Procreate tutorials, make sure to visit my blog at kellyleecreates.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.